and doing some real thinking. Because you know why AIs and automation and outsourcing is going to wipe us out? Because we have given up on the idea that this thing is capable of doing incredible stuff. And we got told by the industries and the 21st century boardrooms that your job is to send 100 emails a day and have a clean inbox at the end, right? Not the case. If you're building a startup or you're working in an organization, turn it off, do some strategy. Get into this place. This is where all the results happen. So, in a minute we're going to ask you guys what you came up with, but real quick, I just want to show you something. So this is a B2B example. Doctors were asked to fill out these questionnaires by this brand, this Merck Healthcare, right? Pharmaceutical company. And basically they asked the question like, you know, what's being a doctor for you, and all this and stuff. And then someone added to the questionnaire, right at the end, someone from one of the agencies add to the questionnaire, why, given the fact that being a doctor is a horrible job sometimes, do you still do it every day? That's a 2 a.m. question, right? That's a question that breaks through a lot of polite bullshit and gets straight to something. And the insight they got out of it was, it's very rare that every now and again, and literally they asked thousands of doctors, and all of them said, when I get to tell a patient a bit of good news, it makes everything else worth it. And they built the most successful B2B campaign in the history of pharmaceutical on this, and this is it. It's won so many awards now, you just can't stop. It's had millions of views of people that are not doctors. There's all these doctors writing underneath it. It's got more views than there's doctors, if you add all the doctors' TED Talks together in Word, it's nothing compared to this, right? And there's all these doctors underneath writing saying, you know what, this absolutely is why I do my job. And this is footage of people being told that there's no more cancer cells, or that their tumours have got smaller. I'm going to show you this. It's all based on an insight. So that's a B2B campaign made by a pharmaceutical company to get doctors to use that product. And the usage of doctors using that product went through the roof because that tribe went, you've nailed it. You have now got access to us because you earned it. And then suddenly, every time one of these reps was coming to speak to the doctors, they're glad to speak to them. So they're like, oh, that's that company that did that.
It's one of the most expensive targeted therapies for cancer.
Yeah.
Most expensive.
So the first thing is empathy, right? The first way to break through the millennial mindset and all the stuff, the problems that we've talked about, is empathize to find a human insight. What do the tribe actually care about? How do we find that out? The next thing is find and fill the needs gap. Oh, hang on. So we just found something very special with our 2 a.m. conversation, right? There are gaps where your tribe have needs that are not properly met. Are we going to leave it there? No. Definitely not. Have you ever seen the film Amelie? Yeah. Amelie proves that you don't have to spend a lot of money or do something. If you recognize that someone needs something, you can just do the smallest thing and it means the most. So just really quick, and we won't show the whole thing, this is a little clip where Amelie finds a box that belongs to this man and he's gone bankrupt. He doesn't have anything left. And she buys, for no money at all, buys the box of his childhood toys and makes sure she gets it back to him. All she does, costs her nothing. It's real quick.
Dominique Breteau, 27 rue Mouffetard.
Damn. We might have to do this one later, guys. It's not. Anyway, basically she phones the phone box. He goes to the phone box. He sees this little thing. He melts, right? Because it's an insight. It's about him. It's really personal to him, and it works. So this is the kind of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Everyone has needs. I keep hearing. Just think about what your tribe has as needs, as human beings, beyond the boardroom, right? And just have a little chat about what you could do for them. I just want to show you one, right? Just on the theme of just being doctors again, right? Another company, well, basically Vodafone, went to all these professions and all these people that were in the last week of a long career. So they went to lawyers who were in the last week, and doctors who were in their last week, and medical staff, and taxi drivers, and they basically said, is there anything you haven't done that you've always wanted to do? And this lady was a doctor, and she said, I've just never been on a roller coaster. So they're stuck on a roller coaster, right? It didn't cost anything. This is what happened. Supply and demand, right? Like, everyone says, oh, Uber, what an amazing business. Well, yeah, but it's not that genius to say, when someone wants something and you give it to them, that's good for business, right? The essence of business is supply and demand. And yet, loads of brands and people, big companies, make loads of supply where there is no demand, right? I mean, who's like, oh, I can't wait for the new advert from those guys. There's no demand for it, right? Nobody wants it, and yet it costs. No one was like, oh, Pepsi, you know what you should do? You should like really make an advert. Like, no one wants it, so why are you doing it? Whereas if you just do something that somebody wants, everything else becomes easy. So I want you to think about this. We don't have enough time to do this time, but if you choose a needs gap, something that's not happened that should have happened. So for lawyers, it might be you might find that for doctors, it was that doctors are really. When you first think about it, and you don't humanize, you don't empathize, you think, oh, doctors, they're all rich and they do this. Actually, think about it, doctors have a pretty tough time. In the UK, doctors are absolutely beaten down. They work 72-hour shifts. It's horrible. And why do they do it? So this company was clever. It said, we're going to remind you about the hero that you actually are, because you've forgotten, in the midst of everything else, that you actually are heroes. And that didn't necessarily cost them that much. It did, but So then you would say, choose a needs gap and think of something that you could do to fill it. So, what could you do for your tribe to fill, now that you've empathized with them and you realize that they are human beings too, whoever they are, even lawyers, maybe not lawyers, but anyway. Once you realize they're human beings and you realize that they don't have everything, life's not perfect for them, how can you help? That is how you build a love brand. Every brand that's ever got in your psyche, like, to be fair to them, evil institution in some ways, but Coca-Cola spent years reminding you that when it was Christmas, you associated with Coca-Cola, right? It was like, holidays are coming, Christmas, blah, blah. Very clever. And as a child, you're like, Nike. When it's a big football competition, or a big rugby competition, or a big basketball competition, they make sure that they own the communication like that. And your hairs and your arms stand straight up. And you go, I'm watching that again. Because it nails how excited you're going to get about the World Cup. Oh my God, that's going to be amazing. In the UK, we have a company called John Lewis. And John Lewis just owns Christmas now. Like, it took over from, it basically just started to make such amazing, such human communication. The first one they ever made, if you've seen it, it's absolutely amazing. It's this little boy, and he looks like he's waiting for Christmas to come, and he's like waiting, and he's pacing up and down, he's trying to make time go faster. And obviously you'd assume he's a selfish little git, basically, and he wants his presents, right? And then Christmas morning happens, the mum and dad go into his bed, he hasn't opened any of his presents, and then they go downstairs, and he's there with his present to give to them. Right? Nailed it. Nailed it. That, we will all be dead, right? And we'll be like dust, and that will still be accruing views. Because it's genius. It's based on a human insight. So, what could you do in the spirit of giving? What could you do for your tribe? Just really, what could you do? Unfortunately, we haven't got time to talk about it, but what could you do? So, first of all, you empathise, then you recognise and fill the needs gap. What is the unique content opportunity to deposit something of true value? And then you've got to really make sure it comes back to you, right? Because it's nice to be Amelie, but we ain't Amelie. Right? We're here to make money, baby! If I had Amelie, I'd be like, Amelie, you are 3/4 of the way to being a genius marketeer. Now make sure it's got return on investment. Right? Because look, we're not in the charity sector, unless you are in the charity sector, in which case, congratulations, and you're a good person. How do you make sure it drives back to you? So, the question of what contribution can we make isn't as easy as that. And I see this all the time. I'm sorry if this applies to any of you. Every conference I go to, someone has decided to give away free speakers or pens or something. And I go, this is great, but like, how do you win out of this? So at the end of the last conference, someone came up and said, I'm going to give this JBL speaker. They're like, oh, they're giving them away to everyone. I was like, you must have spent a lot of money giving these JBL speakers away. And all I could think was, does that actually help you or drive? I mean, I'm grateful that you gave me this, but how does it affect your business goals? Like, it seems like you spent a lot of money, but I don't think really it worked. So the answer is, what contribution can you make? Only an utterly authentic one. Something that is rooted in who you are and what your business goal is. And if you do that, like I said, is the hard work, right? Because trust me, banging out an advert is easy, to be honest with you. It's very, very easy. This is hard. But if you get it right, you grow fast. And this is one of the biggest brands in the world, the real love brands, the ones that really work, even the startups. The most successful, my buddy started Headspace. I remember this conversation, I sat down, my friend said, I want to do a startup. I said, what's the idea? He said, a meditation app. I said, oh, that's interesting. Oh, let's do it together, me and you. I said, nah, that's right, nah. You do it. $480 million valuation. But it's cool, I'm here with you guys. My point is, he nailed it, right? And the reason why Headspace is so loved is because they're not just Headspace wouldn't just come and put a balloon in the air that said Headspace. Like, they're very clever. they started buying up ad space in the States at the moment, but it will run out across the world soon. Where, you know, pre-roll, obviously nobody wants to watch. Even people from YouTube and Google doing presentations, they're like, oh, come on, let's skip it. Right? That's their business model. Right? And they're like, oh God, come on, 5, 4. So they basically start saying, we're just going to give one white screen with just nice music that just says, turning ad space into headspace. That's it. Just, you can just, here's 2 seconds in your day to just breathe. So they turn an advert into something where you go, and then you go into your content. And you're like, thank you, I needed that. But it's also perfect for their business, right? So that's why this stuff is hard, but if you nail it, you win. So to be authentic, the contribution that you make into the needs gap has to come from your bones. It can't just be any old thing. It has to come from your unique company DNA. And that isn't, again, this is hard, right? I'm not expecting you to do this, it's not easy. You might have to dig to find that unique DNA. I don't know why I put this strange image. I was probably in a very dark place. Everyone's always like, oh Mark, it must be so fun traveling the world, you deal with this. Let me tell you what it's like. We were talking about this earlier. Sitting in a hotel room on your own, trying to get the internet to work. That's how I summarise it. So sometimes I go a little bit dark. Anyway, the point is, what is the brand or product or company truth that is authentically you? And how do you make that more interesting and more fascinating? Because there is an angle on that that suddenly makes it interesting. And a hint there is make it part of not you, make it part of culture. So if you're, I don't know, you could be the most boring business in the world. You could be like data mining company, right? Which actually isn't boring, but it kind of is. How do you make that fascinating? Once you get that, isolate it. It's like cloning. It's like DNA stuff. Find it, isolate it, know what it is, write it down, and extract it. And when you've extracted it, it's ready to travel. I was with Barbie the other day. People think Vice is edgy. Barbie is far more edgy than Vice. Trust me. Barbie came out in the early 50s when, it's fair to say, women were not equal, okay? And they busted out and said, Barbie's going to be an astronaut, Barbie's going to be a senator, Barbie's going to be, like they had all these different Barbies that were, even though obviously she looked, in all cases she was 250% beautiful, right? But if you notice what they've done now, they've now released petite Barbie, plus size Barbie, different colours and races and creeds Barbie. Very smart, right? And the way that they did that was they broke the most fundamental thing about their own product, which is the Barbie has to look like Barbie. Because once you extract what is really the DNA, you can then do lots of stuff that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do, because you're able to make that DNA travel. So they realized that Barbie wasn't just how Barbie looked. Barbie was a thing that little girls should feel empowered by. And that's their DNA. And then it didn't matter if Barbie looks like that or like that. So they broke their own problem. So you romance that, you refresh it, you update it, you take it out for dinner, you buy wine, and I'm not talking about cheap wine, the good wine. And then you get a little bit tipsy with it, and you start to romanticize the DNA levels. And then you build your needs gap contribution with that. So with respect to the guys out, whoever are giving away free whatever's out there, I'm not sure it's really filling a needs gap. Like another pen, I don't need it, right? Another speaker, yeah, that's cool. I mean, I could do with a travel speaker, that's nice. But why is it you that gives me this? So you fill the needs gap with something that is authentic and will drive back to your business goals. So how do you do that? I'll ask you that question later. This is the bottom line. This is the content mindset. And coming to the world like that is a win. So, what did you say? So, how do you do it? Empathize. You can tell I enjoyed writing this, right? Empathize. You recognize. You strategize. Empathize to get the human insight. Recognize to get the needs gap. And then strategize to think about why you should be doing this and how it's going to drive back to you. And then what do? You realize, motherfucker! They told me, do not swear. Do not swear. But I'm not swearing. It's got at tag in it. Just sounds like that word that you think it sounds like. So, you empathize, recognize, strategize, and then you relax. Execution. Right. We don't have long, so pause. We have to run through this real quick, so I just want to show you this one window at the end. Really, really quick. There's a great book, How Brands Grow. It's by Byron Sharp. He's a really boring person, but he's really clever. Please help him by buying his book. He would benefit from it, and also you would benefit from it as well, because genuinely, it is a really smart book. And he basically says advertising and marketing and building your startup and all the stuff that we just talked about, whatever you do in your life, B2B as well, it's all about create distinct memory structures, then refresh them with reach and frequency at an efficient rate to keep them top of mind. And when I say refresh them with reach and frequency at an efficient rate, I mean that's media. Keep coming back. Don't just do it once. Make sure that you remind. It's like Michelle, how are you? Yeah. Earlier on, I said hello to Michelle, and then Michelle, as a lot of girls do, looked a bit scared, and then and we talked about it. Right now, we've never met before, right? But imagine that tonight I see Michelle, and I say what brands would do, right? Hey Michelle, do you remember when I said hi to you, and then you looked up and you looked a bit scared, and then you'd say, yeah, you know, it wasn't the most memorable part of my day, it wasn't a big deal, really, to be honest. And I'd say, yeah, well, it was for me. Yeah, like, hey Michelle. Now, so basically, we've established that for Michelle, that moment was not distinct, it was not really a memory, and it was not really very structured. It didn't stick, it just didn't matter, it was not meaningful. So why, therefore, would I then, after I've just said that to Michelle, say, why would I then refresh that undistinct, unmemorable, unstructured event by more reach and